Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far and welcome to today's video where I'm going to be talking you through some trends that I simply cannot get on board with for one reason or another. I just can't do it. So without further ado, let's dive into it. Okay, so this first one is something that I've seen quite a lot of chat about recently, and people who know a lot more than me talking about this being essentially a bit of a waste of our time and effort and energy. And this is how I feel about underpainting. I'm so glad that other people are speaking out about this because this is such a big trend, maybe like more of a year ago, not as like a brand new one. And obviously it's not something that's brand new at all. It's been around for a very, very long time. But it became a really big thing that everybody was doing and talking about as being a must-have on TikTok. I'd say in the last 12 months is where I've been seeing it. And it's been making me feel like I'm missing something, like I'm missing out. But it seems just like, to me, a lot of work, okay? It's double the amount of time, effort, and products. If you're not familiar with underpainting, congratulations. The simplest explanation I can give you is it's putting makeup on before your makeup for some reason. You contour, blush, sometimes bronze and conceal, and then you apply foundation, and then you do it all again. We don't know why. It just seems like a lot of work, a lot of product, and almost without fail, every time I've seen someone doing this, they apply the foundation and everything is gone, and then they just do it again. And I think, was there a purpose? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because as you may have gathered, I'm no underpainting expert, okay? I've never done it before in my life. Maybe that's a lie. Maybe one time I might have tried to do my cream bronzer first, thought it was ridiculous and never done it again. That's the max that I can confess to. But I'm certainly not an experienced, accredited, professional underpainter by any means. But I am led to believe that the intended purpose of this farce, this farcical shambles of a procedure, as I understand it, is it's supposed to add like longevity. It's layering, essentially, is what we're doing here, to make sure that everything looks as makeup-y and as full beat and full glam and lasts as well, because you've got multiple layers of everything, as possible. But what I would say is if you get products that last very, very well on their own, you don't need to bother. Get a good setting spray. I'd recommend the Charlotte Tilbury, and you could skip half of this process. Next up, we're going to talk about something that has been haunting me for the last maybe 6 months, because Gen Z are trying to bring back skinny McDonald's brows. We beg you to stop it. Now, anyone who lived through the 90s will have been victimised by the 90s brows, the very, very skinny brows that we all plucked the living daylights out of our eyebrows, so never to return since in quite the same level of health and full lusciousness that we had before that became a thing. I somewhat blame the Spice Girls for this, but the thing is about brows, if you pluck them over and over and over again to filth, they aren't coming back. We all learned this in the 90s. We beg you, learn from our mistakes. I know that's a ridiculous thing to say because the youths don't want to listen, and neither do we. Probably somebody told us this same exact lesson. We did it anyway, didn't we? We also put sun in our hair, and they're doing that again as well. So I understand that you don't want to listen to us, but just know they aren't coming back ever. So when the trend moves to a thicker, fuller, more natural brow that's a lot less effort and less pain on a daily basis, you'll regret it. But I know they don't want to listen to us. But I'll tell you this for free, I'm not falling for that again. Mine are still sparse from the 90s, and I look at my daughter's brows. She'll never have to do anything to them, ever. They're perfect, natural, full of life. Okay, it's like she does a 3-step hair care routine on them, and I'm very, very jealous. So I'm going to be forcing those tweezers out of her hand, I'll tell you that for free. One of them is going to listen to us. Next up, another very hot trend, hot topic lately, because we've had some drama related to this technique. It's blush draping. This is something that I love for others, but just not for myself. You know, the first two trends here that we've spoken about, underpainting and the skinny 90s brow, especially in a McDonald's shape, I can't get on board with, I can't support for anyone. But this does look magnificent on others. On me, I don't have the skill and the cheeks for this, frankly. I'm 42, I'm always going for the lifted blush effect. Doesn't always work out, sometimes I get it wrong. The blush draping is too fancy for me. The majority of the time, the only places I go are a football pitch and perhaps the beach. Those are pretty much my two locations these days, a school run, a dance studio on a special day. So it's very rare that a draped blush is the appropriate look for these occasions in which I find myself. You don't see a lot of it at Waitrose, I'll say that for free. But can I admire this in an Instagram photo? Can I admire this on someone with a lot more skill and expertise and finesse when it comes to makeup than me? Someone braver, someone with much more exciting daily makeup or places to be. Yes, I do think this looks stunning. Will I be doing it? Not on purpose. Next up, graphic liner. It's taken me approximately 42 years because I did start training and attempting this from birth, straight out of the womb. But it's taken me that long to pull off a half decent winged liner. Okay, it's taken years of trying and training and trial and error and finding products to make it as easy as possible. And even then, 9 times out of 10, it's a horror show. It's a disaster. But I can just about squeeze out a half decent one that from a distance will look fine. So tell me why we're now doing this, okay? I can't do that, all right? A flick is about within my capabilities. This is not. And again, on the school run at a football pitch, this looks bonkers. This is going to look crazy. People will think that I was trying to do a winged liner and it ended up like this. No one's going to think I tried to do this on purpose because mine won't look like this for a start. Mine will look insane. They'll think I'm going for like Batman, I assume. They'll think maybe at Halloween would be the time that I would rock this because it would probably come out looking like a spider's web. But I don't have the time, the skill or the energy for this level of artistic flair. Like I said, I'm one of these who has tried like the credit card, the stamping pens. That's what I'm working with. This is a bit much for me. Very large hands. As you guys know, I was a breaststroker. They came very much in handy during my time as a breaststroker. They don't come in handy when trying to do fiddly diddly things at all. Now, the next couple of things we're going to talk about kind of go hand in hand with my personal these are very much a personal preference, so it's absolute. You're allowed to stay if you love these next two, okay? We need to talk about the others. Fake lashes in general. These have for sure massively improved in the last 10 years or so. When I sort of started YouTube, a fake lash was always like a full-blown bat perched on your eyeballs. That's what they all look like. They've become much, much more natural, undetectable looking in recent years. And so it's not so much how they look anymore, because there are some lovely looking ones. But I was, and I will say this, I understand a lot of people are not blessed with natural, glorious eyelashes, in which case I fully can understand. But I was, luckily. They're my pride and joy, my greatest treasure. So I don't have to get on board with fake lashes. And all I can think about when I see them is the effort. Whenever I see people trying to convince me that putting fake lashes on, clusters, I know all the terms, all right, I'm paying attention. Those ones that you stick on in groups, almost on your eyeball, You surely can, that would annoy me my entire day. I feel like it's in my eye. It looks uncomfortable. It's a lot of fiddling, okay? And like I've said, enormous hands, tiny area. I'm only going to end up gluing that to my eyeball. I just know it. I'm not qualified. Thank goodness I don't need them. You'll never catch me with a fake lash on because I won't get it in the right place, okay? But like I said, that's a personal preference. I fully understand why lots of people love them. I think nowadays, a lot of them, you can't even tell that they're not your real delightfully glorious lashes. So of course you continue with them. They look amazing. They're just not for me. And finally, this is one that cropped up for me when I saw Zendaya at one of her 46 premieres in the last few months, wearing seemingly a full glorious face of makeup and no mascara. Please don't make this a thing. But this is something I've been noticing an increase in, especially when it comes like red carpet makeup. I wonder if the reason for this everything but mascara trend that is growing quicker than I would like, I wonder if it's because I think like the addition of lashes or mascara is the thing that maybe gives away like a no makeup look. I think if you're going to add lashes or mascara, it sort of makes it very obvious you're wearing makeup, and perhaps with these looks you're going for like, she just woke up like this is just her, and let me tell you, it's not far off. Of course, Zendaya is one of, if not the most gloriously, naturally, incredibly, outrageously, rudely beautiful, in fact, women I've ever seen in my entire existence. But with this makeup, it's very dialed down, very barely there, very no makeup. And if you had added mascara or a lash, I think it would have changed the vibe of that. I think that's what's happening here. It's not happening in this house, okay? I'm much more likely to do nothing but mascara. It's my favourite. I love mascara, lashings of it. I'm rarely seen without at least 2 coats, preferably 3 to 4. And that's literally wherever I go. If I'm wearing no makeup, it's likely that I'm doing, you know, a tinted moisturiser or just moisturiser, SPF, mascara and a lip gloss. That's like the one thing that's going on regardless. If I'm putting anything on my face, mascara is one of those things. Doing everything else and just leaving out my favourite part is absolutely never for me. I just feel like I'd look bald and strange and not like myself, because my lashes covered in a million clumps of mascara is just how I like to live my life, and I can't apologise for it. You won't take that away from me. It's me and mascara for life. Okay, so there you have it. Those are 6 of these flourishing makeup trends that I frankly cannot and will not get on board with. Please, as always, let me know your thoughts on these trends, on some trends of your own that you cannot get on board with. I know there'll be people in the comments who will love every single one of these trends, and you're not wrong. We just have a different vibe, a different feeling about them, and that is absolutely okay. Nothing wrong with any of these trends, perhaps apart from the 90s brow, because I fear for your future. But the rest of them I support you doing. I just don't support me doing. So please let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. But thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I would love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye.